Hey, you want it? I got it. Let's talk about it. Hey, coming to you raw and uncut. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the page. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and please leave a comment. All right, SmackDown tonight. Yeah, it was okay. Wasn't that bad. Um, you know, um, it's just a lot of talking in segments and stuff. But next Friday, SmackDown moves to 2 hours, back to two. So hopefully we'll get more mat action and less uh, commercial action or promos and stuff like that. I mean, I know the promos are good because it helps tells the storyline. But anyway, let's get into SmackDown and the review. Okay, we have Randy Orton that came out first, and then Cody Rhodes came out. And Randy is telling Cody, how much he likes him, how much he appreciates the fact that, him and Jay also had a great match and it should be, voted one of the top matches, of the year, but, and then he goes on to saying that he needs to be king of the ring because he has to get back to John Cena, and then because of the fact that he lost to Gunther and everything, that means everything for him to get his revenge, especially on John Cena because John Cena, you know, as he says, embarrassed him in front of his family. So I can see Randy Orton's point, but then he told Cody Rhodes he was going to introduce him to the three most deadliest letters around, and that's RKO. And then, Cody Rhodes is saying how much that he appreciates, you know, um, Randy Orton, how far they go back, as a career, and then being a mentor and, and stuff like that. But, Cody's going on to saying that, him and John Cena have been champions, you know, combined 31 times, and as Randy Orton said that it was an embarrassment for him to, have lost to Gunther and John Cena the way that he did and stuff. That he wanted he heard the revenge, but Cody said, them being champions, that they were that that embarrassment shouldn't even be any of the words, that he uses because of his career and how well he's done in his career as far as Randy Orton is, concerned. And then Cody Rhodes is saying that he also too has to win King of the Ring, you know, to pay back some of the things that happened to him, especially with John Cena losing the way that he did, you know, when he lost the title and stuff. So, I mean, they both have good arguments and stuff, and hopefully tomorrow night the best one wins. I'm thinking Cody Rhodes is going to win that match. That's what it seems like to me. So, but anyway, moving on, we have Jimmy Uso and JC Mateo. And I've said it before, JC Mateo, he's pretty athletic and stuff. That standing moon saw is awesome for a guy his size. Um, they've been at it for a while, and you kind of knew that it was going to be um, some mess at the end and everything. Even though JC Mateo won the match and stuff, there was still some stuff because Solo came into the ring. He wanted Jimmy to join him and everything, and Jimmy was looking like he was gonna do it, but then that slap, pow, right upside his face. And then once that slap happened, then they went to beating up, Jimmy and stuff, and then Jacob Fatu comes out I guess to help and everything, because I'm thinking Jimmy is a little bit confused, Fatu is a little bit confused. I mean, Jacob is a little bit confused and stuff. So they kind of look at each other, and then Jimmy pushes Jake out the way, super kicks Solo, and the action is over. But then, Jimmy and Jacob look at each other, and then it goes back out of segment and stuff. But tomorrow night, Jacob Fatu, will be challenging Solo Sikoa, and it will be for the U.S. men's title. And I'm believing that Jacob will stay champion. Then we move on to Zelina Vega and Giulia. The match itself was okay match. I mean, at first it was trash. It kind of little picked up a little bit. It wasn't all that great. You took it off one person who didn't really represent the belt well, which is Zelina Vega. She really didn't represent well. She's not really good on the mic when she talks and stuff like that. So a few months of being champion, I think they just gave it to her, just to fulfill a dream of hers, with Eddie Guerrero and all, with that contact and stuff. And hopefully Julia can do something with the women's U.S. title. We'll see how that goes. And then we get Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And they are talking. Charlotte saying that, when, a couple of weeks ago when Alexa came out to help her and stuff, but it ended up that, they walked out at each other, and then Charlotte, backstage is telling that Alexa that she doesn't need any friends, and Alexa's telling her that she doesn't want her as a friend. She needs her as an ally. They need to work together and stuff. And I think, them as being a tag team, they'll be a pretty good tag team and stuff. So I'm thinking that they need to get together. I'm sure it's going to probably happen because now this is the storyline that they're telling that it could happen. So let's see what happens with that. Then we have Jade Cargill and Oscar for their promo interview for Queen of the Ring. Oh my word! It seemed like it was well. For one, nobody can understand Oscar, and two, Naomi. I mean, not Naomi, but Jade is sometimes okay on the mic, but most of the time it just seemed like it was just scripted. She read it, she learned it, and now she's saying it. You know, please subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. Let me know if you agree or disagree on that one. I mean, that's what it seems to me. And then we have Naomi coming out, telling Jade, and I'm assuming Oscar too, that she has the power because she has the briefcase, Money in the Bank briefcase, and she controls all the moves and stuff, regardless of how anything comes out. Saying that she could cash in, tonight as far as the match with Tiffany and Nia Jax, or she can cash in at SummerSlam. Whoever wins, the Queen of the Ring, and whoever is the champion at that time at SummerSlam, she could cash in on there, And we don't know, but I have a way of thinking. I have a feeling that Jade will win Queen of the Ring. Naomi is going to turn that briefcase in and get the title. Then they're going to be fighting for the title, but somewhere on the line with that, I believe Bianca Belair is going to be in the mix in the middle of that. But anyway, that's for something else. That's for another video or that time when that happens. But anyway, you got DIY going against Ray Phoenix and Andrade. The match was okay. It moved. It was good. So and then Ray, and Andrade, they win the match. It was it was an okay match. And then you got Alistair Black in, in R-Truth's face again. And then Damian Priest, is kind of telling Alistair Black to kind of like, back off a little bit and stuff. And then Carmella Hayes comes out and tells Damian Priest for him to back off, from Ron Killings before things backfire on him. So I don't know what that means. and stuff. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Then you have the Street Profits with the Wyatt Six and stuff, and you kind of knew that this match, especially after all the tag teams came out to the match and everything, that this match was going to end in a disaster, DQ, and stuff like that. And, and that's what happened. And it did. Um, Street Profits are still the champions. I think they need to do something quick and, you know, um, make that tag team title, something to look forward to see and stuff like that. I mean, I don't understand what that is with that the tag team division there and SmackDown with these guys, but it could be a lot better because they have the talent. They have the talent. If you agree, please subscribe, like, share. Leave a comment. Let me know how you look. Just let me know. Then we have Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. The match was a little sloppy. Most of the stuff was sloppy, especially with the women matches. A lot of things were sloppy, and looked like Tiffany took the corner of that step into her ribs. I'm sure she's going to be feeling it. She got through the match. There were some things. Nia Jax is usually good in the ring and stuff. She really, really usually is good in the ring. But then it came to the point to where Naomi comes trying to turn in the briefcase, but that never happens and everything. And now they're at it, and then um, the briefcase gets used. Nia Jax is put through a couple of tables by Tiffany Stratton with the briefcase, and she wins. You know, and I mean, it was the last woman standing. I think they could have used a lot more of the material that they had in the ring and around the ring. But, we got a couple of table shots in there. We got, the announcer table. So it was good. Some kendo shots and everything. So it was pretty good, for that and for them too and stuff. So we're going to see what happens later on. Then at the end, we have John Cena and CM Punk, the promo. And John Cena's coming out telling the people that this is what a real champion looks like and stuff. I mean, the last champion, last great champion, what it looks like. And he's a winner, and CM Punk is a loser, because CM Punk has been cornered, outmaneuvered, and if he's and he's out of tricks because John Cena calls himself a genius. So, but I mean, last week we saw it. That promo that John Cena did last week was good. That was good. But this week, this one was okay too because CM Punk, he comes out, he does a lot of one-liners and stuff on John Cena. Um, I like the part when he called him a fish belly white Hulk Hogan. That was cool. He tells John Cena, that I mean, it was great. Even though some of the things that CM Punk missed, but it was funny. It was entertaining. Um, and then CM Punk tells John Cena that there's one more wish that he needs to make, and he said tomorrow night you're gonna lose to Kendrick because B, you're my Drake. And he drops the mic and he leaves with that. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people talking about that one line. But for SmackDown tonight, hopefully it'll be better next week now that it's going back to 2 hours. Um, but that's it. So with that, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, let me know how you're feeling. Thank you for watching the video. Deuces, God bless you, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.